I just want to go to the question that Mr. Crane raised, which is the sort of the fundamental question. Why do you think they're doing it? Well, why? We know it's intentional because on day one they decided no more building the wall, no more remain in Mexico, and when you get here you will not be detained, you will be released. And they announced it to the world. And so literally 3 years and 4 months we went from a secure border to no border. But it still begs the fundamental question, why? Why are they doing it? I want to know from folks on our witnesses, we hear from the audience too, but I want to know the people who are testifying here today, what do you think the ultimate motivation is that Mr. Crane was getting to just a few minutes ago? What do you think? I have an idea what I think it is, but I want to know what you guys think here on the front line. Now, let's start with the gentleman with a few more years of wisdom than the rest of us. Let's start with the rancher if we can. You've been here, said your ranch has been in your family like 6,000 years or something, I think you said. So, Mr. Chilton, you go first. Tell me what you think. Why do you think Joe Biden intentionally, deliberately, premeditated fashion on January 20th, 2021 changed the policies that were working and created the mess that we have heard about for years now, but certainly heard about from you in such a compelling way, Ms. Fagan, Alexander, all of you. Mr. Chilton, tell me what you think the motivation is.
Mr. Chairman, it's purposeful, and the purpose is to change the demographics of this country. It's politically thought by the administration, Mr. Biden, that these people will vote for Democrats in the future once they become citizens and eligible to vote. It's strictly a political ploy.
Mr. Clem?
You know, initially my thoughts were strictly political spite because it took all the executive actions. You know, he was started on day one in the first 30 days. I think there was 94 executive actions that directly impacted the border. So just to undo everything from the previous administration. But over time, as you start looking at all this and you kind of piece it together, your brain wants to reason and try to find some facts and truth. And the only thing I can come up with is just, and this is sitting as a citizen here testifying, is that the more people they can bring in, regardless of citizenry, they can do census, they can do population votes, and gain more seats maybe in their favor and/or electoral college votes down the road to, as Mr. Chilton mentioned, to swing power in on their behalf for the future. I think there's no other reasoning because they're not being transparent other than us having to make this up.
Politics is more important than what happens to kids like.
Absolutely. They're about securing the narrative, not securing the border.
Yep. That's kind of what I think too, and it's sad because you don't want to think that about the commander in chief of the greatest country in history. You don't want to think that about your government, the people who are elected to high office. You just don't want to think that. But it's tough to come up with any other conclusion because again, we're all for. You got a member of Congress who came here as a legal immigrant, did it the right way, doing an outstanding job. I mean, we're all for that. But what we're not for is the chaos that creates situations where two young lives are gone. The Dunn family, another young. That's what we don't want. Mr. Karcher, I'll give you a chance to respond.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if I have an answer for you other than to fundamentally change our country, but I'll carry it on one step further. If they're looking for votes, if they're looking for that kind of stuff, why? And throughout my career, I would say somewhere in the 90th percentile of the people that we encountered were military-age males.
Yep. No, that's the scary element. The chairman of the subcommittee on immigration has warned the committee now, talks to the entire Congress about these people coming across. Some of them we know are on the terrorist watch list, but there's a whole bunch we don't. I think Mr. Clem, you said earlier, you can walk right up to a Border Patrol agent, you're going to get in, you're going to get released, we know what's happening. So if you're trying to evade that, you aren't up to anything any good. And that's the scary thing, too. And again, it seems to be all done in a deliberate way by this administration, which is scary. Ms. Fagan-Alexander, you're going to get the last word here, the last 30 seconds, which is probably appropriate. So you go right ahead.
I think that these gentlemen are all right. I think there is political power and political gain. But I think it is also genuinely a dislike for who we are as America. I don't think that he likes who we are. I don't think he wants us to continue having freedoms that we do. I think by allowing whoever and whatever to come over the border, it changes, it shifts. And I don't think he's opposed to that. And that's very sad because I love America.
Yeah, well, we want to thank the four of you for taking time out of your busy lives and coming here and giving compelling testimony. We want to thank all of you in attendance. Mayor, thank you, and our law enforcement for being such gracious hosts. I wish I could stay a little longer. Of course, we want to thank your congressman, who, as I've said now a couple times, is doing a great job. All your team from Arizona is doing a great job. Plus, I tell your congressman all the time, his last name is like just one of those names, Siscomani, just one of those names you like to say, right? It's one of those great names. But we thank you all, and we're going to keep fighting, trying to. We have Juan's bill that we passed, a bill that our committee worked on, House Bill 2, that went through Tom's subcommittee, and so much work that would actually help. But the main problem is, as Mr. McClintock started us off with saying, we just need an administration that actually enforces the current law. So.